2 on the clock for the win. Got it! 2 tenths of a second to go. For the win! Got it!
Welcome back to Unsportsmanlike Conduct Podcast. What a great weekend it was, guys. I mean,
what up?
Crazy. We got my friend Taylor here. We got my friend Parker here.
What's up,
we got
everybody?
Me, Cameron Tyler Cure here. Back in it. We here. And guess what? It's TAYSOM time, baby. It is TAYSOM time.
Hey.
So,
Man.
First item on the agenda today, obviously I just said TAYSOM time. What do y'all think about his first start? His first NFL career start?
Man, I think that's as much as you can ask for like a first start. Like you go and you look at what Teddy did because, you know, everyone keeps comparing Jameson TAYSOM to Teddy when he was in this situation. His first start against Seattle, you know, TAYSOM outperformed him by a mile. You know, Seattle was really all defense and special teams game. And yesterday was too. You know, defense played out of their minds, but TAYSOM really showed a lot. I don't know if he showed enough to be the heir apparent quite yet. I have to see more.
Agreed.
I'm not gonna make that call after one game. But I mean, he had a couple great throws. That one throw on the run to Mike where he just hit him right in stride was just amazing. You know,
the first one of the game.
Yeah, that first real long that dot.
Yes.
But you know, he had a couple long balls to Emmanuel Sanders that just like it looked like Emmanuel Sanders was catching a punt return. Man, like
Now, the second one was good. The second one he threw that Sanders caught it on the guy's head, but it was a hold. That was a good throw. The other one was just an absolute duck, though.
yeah, props to Emmanuel Sanders for catching that ball. You know,
It looked like you're right. It looked like a punt.
he kept adjusting to it. It looked like he looked like an outfielder trying to field a fly ball.
I literally saw all over Twitter, like everywhere. Everybody was literally saying he literally punted the ball. And one of my friends actually reacted. He said, "I think he hit the rafters up top. How high that ball went."
Yeah, I mean, it just straight up wasn't a good throw. But I mean, he went.
I got it right here. He went 18 of 23 for 233, and then he had 10 carries for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I mean that's not bad. I don't know the specific percentage on that, but that's like right at 75%, I believe. So I mean that's pretty good. That's all
he was at 78, and he had like the 5th highest completion percentage. No, because I saw.
Yeah, I don't know
that.
Did you guys see his QBR?
What was his QBR?
His QBR was 109.
Wow, and that run was 19.
Yeah, first game. I mean, I think it was all that we could really ask for as Saints fans from the first game. I mean, obviously, Sean Payton had a system drawn up, and it looked like it worked pretty good. Only thing I would have liked to see a little earlier would have been more of him running the ball, because I know we all spoke about it and we were watching the game, but just watching how the game was playing, we're at a 3rd and 1, and you have a guy who almost every time he runs the ball is getting you 4 or 5 yards of carry. I mean, he's averaging 5.5 right now at carry. So I don't understand why on a 3rd and 1 you're not just going to QB power right up the gut. But you know, other than that, I mean, I was impressed. I mean, I think he definitely put himself in a scenario this offseason that it's going to make things a lot more difficult on the front office if they want to go get somebody, or if he's going to be the guy. But I think biggest thing was before the game, I think the reason he honestly got the start was the fact that they paid him $21 million this offseason. They said, hey, we're going to need to have a second to see, is he going to be the quarterback of the future, or is we going to give this nod to somebody else? I think that's what it was all about. And he answered the call, I think.
And it would not surprise me at all if, you know, when those contract negotiations were going on, if there was kind of a verbal, almost like an agreement or a promise from Sean to TAYSOM, be like, you know, we signed you to this. If Drew goes down again, like he did last year, if it happens again, it's your time. You're going to get the call. I don't know that for sure, but it would not surprise me at all if that's something that had happened.
You know, he said at the beginning of the year, that's why I was confused why everybody was up in arms about it. He said, Sean came out at the beginning of the year and said, TAYSOM is the number 2. He's the backup.
Right.
That Jameis was third. I think everybody got all confused because Jameis came in the second half of last week's game. But I think when Sean right away, because it sounds like from Monday morning when they walked in the building, Taysom was the starter. He took all the first team reps, everything. So I don't think they even blinked. I think they knew right away he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the schedule here, next week we have the Broncos and then we have the Falcons again. You know, neither of those are just throwaway games, like if we're playing like the Jets or somebody, but I mean, they're not tough games. Denver's got a good defense and okay defense. They've got some good pieces, but you know, my man Drew Lock hasn't really showed us what he can do yet. So
your opinions, Cam?
About Taysom?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think he definitely showed us what he can do. I hated that we had so many holding calls and penalties that hindered a lot of his performance. I mean, he should have had a lot more completions than he did, and probably a touchdown or maybe two if it wasn't for all the penalties that we had. That's something we definitely need to clear it up on as a team. But all in all, I couldn't be more impressed with his first NFL career start. He definitely exceeded my expectations. Just because, I mean, we haven't really seen him play like a Drew style offense. Well, I should say more of a Sean Payton style offense.
But so there's nothing Drew like about that game,
right? I meant like more of a Sean Payton style offense, but it was more tailored to Taysom rather than Drew Brees, and I liked what I saw. Hopefully, we stick to that style of play and the way we played like that a little better though in the next coming games, because the Falcons is always a hard game for some reason. It's always a difficult game, especially in the first quarter, first half, I should say, of last night's game. I mean, it was a struggle at first, in my opinion. I mean, we weren't getting the ball down the field, I think, good enough. And then we had the missed field goal, we had the drop passes. So I mean, that's something we also need to work on, because I can't believe we paid Michael Thomas this much and he dropped that pass like that. And then he looked at his hands like, oh my God, my hands. Well, dude, you have a cajillionaire. Catch the ball. You're in the NFL.
That money's weighing him down.
Hey, I mean, he did go for like what, 9 catches for 104.
Yeah,
he had none.
I'm not.
He stepped it up.
He stepped it up in the second half.
Oh yeah,
he did step it up.
But the person who really stepped it up is that defense.
Yeah, you know, I see so much. I see whenever anybody's talking about this, I see so much credit to the defense, and I see a lot of credit given to Taysom Hill. I do not see enough credit given to Sean Payton and that game plan he was able to put together. You know,
correct.
Knowing Sean, he's a genius. He's an evil genius. He's probably had this game plan in the works since the day he signed Taysom. You know, or the day he realized what Taysom was. He's probably had a game plan being like, okay, this is what we're doing. If Taysom ends up starting a game for us, this is where our game plan is going to be. And he's probably had 2 years to kind of fix it up, tweak it a little bit. And the day finally came and it worked perfect.
Correct.
But yeah,
that's what I love about Sean.
Hat's got to go off to Dennis Allen, though. I mean, did you guys know in the last 3 games in 12 quarters, they have allowed 1 touchdown? I mean, that's insane in this era of football where it's all offensive based. I mean, that's just insane.
That's why
it's got to be.
If we're able to keep this up with this Saints defense, and like I said, we're getting our swag back. Like we were up by 3 points. And Demario Davis was dancing on the sideline because he just knew.
Yeah.
He knew, like, this game's already over the way we're about to play. Especially when Drew comes back, with our offense being this dynamic, with all these pieces becoming healthy and seeing what our offense can be, I don't see another team that has, in the NFC at least, that has this dynamic of an offense and that good of a defense backing it up.
Maybe just Green Bay. That's about it.
Maybe Green Bay, but I would give the Saints the nod on at least the defensive side of the ball over the Packers.
Yeah.
And that's why
we've seen them play already, and it was a really close game. So
yeah, and I mean, and you got to think that was without Mike. which, like I said, Mike, even when he's not catching the ball, Mike just opens up our offense so much more, knowing and gives our quarterback so much more confidence. At least, or Sean gives Sean so much more confidence to call those big plays because he knows if it doesn't work, he's got Michael Thomas on a slant route or something, a little dump that Mike's going to catch it, fall forward, and at least get you 5 or 6.
It's kind of weird to see Kamara yesterday kind of almost take a step back. He was kind of out of the offense almost, essentially. I think he only had 50 yards. He didn't have a catch, so that was a little different. I mean, obviously, I think Murray's the better north and south runner on the team. I think we all know that. Kamara's the guy who catches all the screens and all the little dump-off passes and takes them for long yards. But Murray did his thing.
And that's another thing, too. You see the production lost in Kamara when Taysom's in. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. Because you can definitely tell that they weren't running all those dump-off type passes a lot as much as when Drew Brees is in. But I think it's also because Taysom has an arm. I mean, that dude was flinging the ball. Like,
yeah, he throws it hard.
He throws that thing hard.
His throwing mechanics are so weird.
They are weird.
That he just kind of like almost looks like he's pushing the ball. When he
throws a lot off his back foot too, and he throws like really open, like he opens up his front leg throwing sideways, and I don't know how he flings it that hard throwing like that.
I mean, the strongest guy on the team.
I know it's true, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, he makes pitch perfect, accurate passes, and it's just crazy. It's crazy that he can do it like that, and that's why I think we're in good hands until Breeze comes back. And then I guess after these next 2-3 games, we see Taysom. I think that's when we'll see.
Yeah,
if he's really the future.
Yeah, these next 2-3 games.
I think he's going to get a really big test. I don't see Drew coming back. At least I think Drew will be back first playoff game if he comes back. And hopefully right now we have that first round bye, so hopefully we could hold on to that. But, I mean, I don't see him coming back before the first playoff game. So we're going to get to see Taysom go up against Pat Mahomes. It'd be pretty cool.
And, I think that's probably the smart thing to do also because, I mean, if the report is true, Drew Brees has 11 fractured ribs.
Yeah, but rib fractures sound way scarier than they are. Like I said,
correct.
The projection is still 3 to 4 weeks for Drew.
Right.
And in a perfect world, he gets healthy. And we keep winning games, and let's say Green Bay and Seattle and Tampa keep losing, and we kind of get a bigger gap in that first seed in the NFC to where almost we can lock up that bye maybe before the last week of the season. And so
just don't even play him.
Yeah, he can be healthy. He can dress out if he wants to, but like don't even play him. Like these games are throwaway games. Like the last game of the season. Past couple of years where we have that first round bye or that first seed locked up to where like a guy like Teddy would have gone in or something like that.
Right.
Speaking of injuries, a big one happened this Sunday.
Shout out to the GOAT.
A lot. This is bad for football. I saw that it's much worse than they originally thought. Originally they thought it was just a left ACL tear, but it's left ACL, MCL, and additional knee damage.
I figured.
Which I mean, I'm not trying to sound like depressing or anything. But
you didn't even address who we're talking about for the people that aren't watching on YouTube.
I figured they knew, but we're talking about Joe Burrow, Joey B down in Cincy. That's the same injury that kind of derailed RG3's career. Granted, RG3 was a much more mobile quarterback than Joe. Obviously, I want to see him bounce back. I don't think his career's over, but when you look at an injury that bad, it's normally a freak accident or a freak play, but everyone is going at the Bengals' throat right now, blaming them for how they managed his first season.
Damn right.
As everybody should.
Yeah, he led the league in drop back passes as a rookie.
Just go watch the film on that play. If you watch it from beginning to end, you watch his offensive lineman. I put it to you this way. They rushed 5 guys. And the Bengals had 6 guys blocking. Yep. How do you let them get to your quarterback that quickly?
And if you look at it closely, I don't recommend going to look at it because it's a very nasty injury. You look at it closely, their offensive lineman, he got beat so bad that the only thing he can think to do is take that defensive lineman and push him to the ground, and he pushes him into Joe, and that's what causes injury. Joe was getting set to throw, and so he straightened his leg out, and so as his leg's straight, that defensive lineman gets pushed into Joe, and I mean, it just hyperextends way too far. And
I want to set the record straight now as far as the Cincinnati Bengals go. They need to take their first round pick, their second round pick, and their third round pick and put it in the offensive line. I don't hear no more of this nonsense about, we're going to go pick Jamar Chase in the top 5. No, you got enough weapons at wide receiver for right now. You need to protect your quarterback, and you need to establish a run game because you got to get running back and mix him when he's healthy.
They have AJ Green and T Higgins. Those are two.
And they have, I know he hasn't done anything, but they have a guy like John Ross who's a burner.
Right.
Tyler Boyd's crushing it right now. And
Tyler Boyd. Yeah, I say I don't care what pick they have, even if it's a trade up. I assume they'll have a pretty high pick. I don't care if you're number 1. You got to go take that Sewell kid. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. That kid out of Oregon. He's one of the highest
linemen, huh?
Yeah, he's one of the highest rated offensive linemen coming into the draft in the past 5-6 years. I mean, the kid is unreal. And I mean, just having
they need to get him.
One anchor like that can change your whole offensive line.
And that's the thing. They have a couple big time guys on that line. They're just not performing.
Yeah.
They have Jonah Williams at right tackle. I don't know if y'all remember him when he came out of Alabama. He was a beast. He won like 2 national championships. But I mean, he's just garbage right now. He's coming off an injury, but still.
It all comes down to coaching, though. It's all coaching.
It could be coaching,
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it can come down to coaching, but if your offensive line is that bad, can't coach not getting beat.
That's where we got to tie it in also. I mean, why is Joe throwing that many passes a game with that kind of offensive line? Why is he throwing the ball 50 times a game?
Didn't he have like 63 passing attempts in one of his first 3 games?
Yeah, first 3 games. It was I don't know if it was, I think it was 59, 60 somewhere.
That's unreal, unacceptable.
Especially for a rookie quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes isn't doing that.
Well, and for a guy who has a all-pro running back, I mean, when Mixon was healthy, I've seen
Mixon beat up Auburn in the Sugar Bowl back when he was at Oklahoma. He is an animal.
Right.
Guess kind of getting off of a kind of sad topic. I guess staying on the NFL.
All praise to Joe Burrow before we move on. I wish you a speedy recovery, my man.
No doubt.
We are going into week 12, I believe, correct?
Yes, week 12.
Yes, week 12.
Yes. We won't touch on all the games. Maybe we'll touch on a couple. The first game,
got some key ones here.
Yeah, big one is Ravens at Pittsburgh. Do Pittsburgh? I mean, you keep saying you can't.
I'm rocking with the Steelers, man. I'm just rocking with them. I haven't seen enough out of Lamar Jackson right now to prove that they're going to beat the Steelers in this one. They inched by who is it? They played yesterday. I watched a little bit of it.
Jaguars.
They lost yesterday. I apologize. I thought the Ravens came back. Okay, the Titans ended up squeaking out and beating the Ravens 30-24. I just haven't seen enough out of Lamar this year to give me confidence. Think he's going to beat an undefeated team.
The line is -3 right now.
For the
I got
Steelers?
-4.5. Yeah,
Steelers -3. Yeah.
Mine says -4.5.
Oh man,
well, it was a relatively close game with their first encounter this season. So I mean, I think it'll be like that again if Lamar is proven 100% healthy. If he's not, then I think it might be a blowout for the Steelers.
Well, I also heard the Ravens had a COVID outbreak, and J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram both had COVID. So that's 2 starting running backs.
Saints, like we said earlier, Saints are heading up to the Mile High City, going to face Denver. Saints -6 right now. I'll take that. I'll take the Saints to cover that.
That's a big spread.
Denver's bad this year.
What are they, 4? They're 4-6?
4-6.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting, though. It's going to be really interesting to see them play in the cold like that.
That's what I was about to say. The only big factor, I think, for the Saints is just going to be that cold weather and that high altitude.
Taysom and Mike are fine. Taysom and Mike will be fine with cold weather. Taysom from BYU, Mike's from Ohio State. They're fine with cold weather.
Now,
Taysom.
Taysom's from Idaho or Illinois.
With teams, especially teams that play in a dome or in warmer weather, the running game is what really gets you against these cold games and these bad AFC teams. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray are I shouldn't say have to step it up because they've already proven that there's really versatile running backs, but they're going to be a big part of that game plan against the Broncos, and I think they're going to shred against Denver's defense.
I'll tell you the game plan for the run game. Run away from a guy whose jersey says Chubb. Von Miller going out. You guys think we'll see more?
You guys think we'll see more of Taysom running the ball this game, or it'll be similar to last time?
I think so. With the Broncos, kind of, their best defensive player being out all year in Von Miller, I think we will. Atlanta's defense was, like we talk about it, but Atlanta's defense was hot coming into last week. And I guess we'll just touch on one more game. This is honestly the biggest game of the week. This is Chiefs at Tampa.
Huge game. We're rooting for the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, big Chiefs guys, big Mahomes guys, as Shannon Sharp would say, Mahomes boy. The line is Chiefs. The line is Chiefs -3.
Chiefs minus, dude. Honestly, it's in Tampa. It looks like. I think Kansas City's going to roll them. I think they beat them by 10 at least.
Yeah, I'd like that. That would make it. We're 8-2 right now. They'd put them at 7-4. I mean, that would make it almost impossible for Tampa to come back and get that division.
Yeah, we'd have to lose every game for the rest of the year, but with the division would almost be a lock for 4 years in a row. So
who's
pretty cool
playing tonight? We're recording this on Monday night, November 23rd.
Tampa's playing tonight though. So
Tampa and the Rams. I know the Rams got their -4 tonight. Oh yeah,
I completely forgot that the Tampa and the Rams are playing today.
Yeah, 4.5.
I'll take LA in that game.
No, for sure. I think LA is going to come out with the dub on that one.
No, I'll go against y'all. I'll take the Buccaneers. Sadly, and this is not from my fantasy team, but I think Antonio Brown may show up tonight.
Oh God,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Moving away from the NFL a little bit, the NBA draft was last week. Lot to talk about there. Anthony Edwards going number 1. There was all this talk that they were locked in on LaMelo, and then they didn't want LaMelo. But I really like the pick. Anthony Edwards. I really like the pick.
No, I like the pick aside from the kid coming out the next day and saying that he's not a huge fan of basketball. I mean, he's got pick number 1. Like,
that didn't sit right with me either.
Imagine like they had those, how like the NFL, they have the NFL Combine, they have like those meetings where they sit you down and interview basically. Imagine if they're like, do you love basketball, son? He's like,
it is what it is.
It's whatever.
Like, are you just paying to get your bills paid? Like,
but yeah, anyways, back to what you said. I like the pick. It was a good pick. It fit them well.
I don't think, like, we had this talk last episode. We were saying how Minnesota needs a box office player. I don't really see him as a box office player, but he's definitely a baller.
He has the potential to be box office. I mean, granted, like, if you're getting drafted number 1 overall, you have to have the potential to be box office.
Correct.
Unless you're like,
well, he's not. I don't think he's as box office as LaMelo is what I'm saying.
I mean, LaMelo is just like such a big name. Like, he's been surrounded by the camera since he was
14.
14, yeah.
Had the fro and the messed up teeth.
Any picks stand out to you guys that you were surprised by? Or
I'm really surprised that the Knicks took Toppin. I'm surprised they took a forward. They really need guard play. I didn't like that pick at all. They keep saying they want skywalk. The Knicks fans begged for like some skywalking big above the rim player, and they finally get him in the draft where they didn't need a forward. They're paying Julius Randle a good little bit of money. I can't think off the top of my head, but I mean, they need guards. Who's their starting shooting guard right now? Alonzo Trier?
Yeah, I honestly don't.
He was last season. Didn't they sign somebody? Oh, wait, you're talking about shooting guard or point guard? Or just
either
guard
way,
in general?
They need guard play in general.
RJ Barrett's their top.
Yeah, you're right. Frank Ntilikina is not the answer at point guard. He's not a bad player, but you're not going to win a championship with him at the 1. Nowadays, the 1 the 1 and the 3 are the 2 most important positions in basketball. You got to have a good point guard and you got a good small forward. Like, you look at the top players in the league right now. LeBron, Giannis, he'll play both. Kawhi, they all play small forward. KD. I'm talking about like top guys.
Oh, top. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Like superstar level.
Right. And kind of touching, on the Pelicans pick, didn't like it. We need depth at small forward. Aaron Nesmith was right there, best pure shooter in the draft, which is shooting something we really lack. We got BI and we got JJ, who can consistently hit from deep, and then Melly when he's hot.
Yeah, but he can't play the three.
Who?
JJ.
No, I'm saying just in general shooting.
Oh, just in general. Oh, yeah, that's it. They definitely, and especially as much as I hate Etuan more, they lost him this weekend, which means he was a shooter. So they do need to address that. My thing is this with the whole draft pick selection. I think there's something going on that we don't know about. Yeah, I think one of the guards is on the move, like either it's Lonzo or Bledsoe or one of those. So I think they're on the move. So I think they expect this Kyra Lewis kid to come in and play right away off the bench, but they expect him to play right away. So I think they're probably going to address those needs in a trade. I don't think it's coming to free agency, but like Cameron said, it is Monday and Ingram still hasn't been re-signed. They extended him the qualifying offer. So we'll kind of have to wait and see at this point. Hopefully next week we have a little more info.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA has kind of just been a storm of news, rumors, and things like that. Rumors more than anything. And, I will say this right now so I can have it on video evidence. The Pelicans will regret trading away the draft rights to RJ Hampton. They're going to regret it. He's going to be the steal of the draft, and I will stand by that. And I will admit if I'm wrong, but I do not
just disagree because they got Steve Adams. So, I disagree.
That's a good point.
But we got an expiring contract, Steve Adams, on a $29 million cap hit. Like,
he's not 29 mil. I checked today. It was like 22 or 23.
I'm sorry. No. Okay. So it's 20. No, you're wrong. It's 20 because I checked on Sport Track, and Sport Track is always accurate. It's 27 million, but he has a trade kicker. So the Thunder is paying the other $2 million. So it is a $29 million cap hit, but it's only a $27 million cap hit for us, and it's a $2 million for Thunder.
Yeah, so, okay. I really like Steve Adams. I like him as a person more than a player. He's really funny. But he's super physical.
You're right. 27.5.
Yeah.
He's like 30 years old, I believe. So he's not young, but he's not too old.
I don't think we'll keep him, but we want to win. They need to win some games this year and make the playoffs. And I think he definitely can help them do that.
This is where I'm confused at. I love having Steve Adams. I think he's a great stretch five center, but the thing is,
he's not a stretch five.
Well, they say he's a stretch five. That's what all the news media outlets said.
That man cannot shoot.
No, be a stretch five.
And I agree. But I'm saying they said he's a stretch five. I don't see it, but that's what they call him. I'll just say he's a great center. He's a great center that we can have veteran wise for him to learn to teach and teach Jackson Hayes so he can craft his skills, and then also just to have that veteran experience. Like we need that veteran leadership in the locker room, and like Parker said, he's a great guy. So you want that. You want to keep building that locker room culture. But
yeah, I think I like the trade a lot. I do like the trade a lot. But my big thing is, if you are in win now mode, why trade Drew?
That's what I was getting at, because they've gone back and forth so many times. Like we've had Gale and DG both say we want to build for the future and we're not going to get in win mode right away. But then we're making all these trades, and you trade away arguably the best two-way guard in the league, when you could have easily signed somebody in free agency to get that center.
I'll just point this out. I'll take Klay Thompson.
Well, he has a broken leg, 2 of them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But
that's why I said arguably. I think Drew's one of the best two-way guards.
Well, y'all are really, really hating on somebody right now, and that's Mr. Jimmy Butler, because he is the best two-way guard right now.
I just didn't think about Jimmy.
I didn't even think about Jimmy. Wow.
And dude, we may
but anyways,
never know.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah, we could have gotten. We just don't know what Dave's up to. I mean, he could be in talks.
That's what I keep saying. Y'all keep getting mad about the RJ Hampton thing, but like, I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes we don't know about.
We could be getting.
And I think it was a good move. When you look at it, we lost Favors, so you definitely had to address that position. And I think we got better at that position. Now, like you said, one place we didn't get better at was small forward. We've kind of gone downhill there. We don't have a backup right now,
which is scary to think about. But it's early in free agency, so
I think if we don't address it, I mean, I think you're going to see Josh end up playing a lot of the 3.
Well, he did a lot last year, but I mean, I would like to see him play more at the 2.
I agree. But we never know. The Pels could be looking at trading for a superstar. I mean, there are these little tiny rumbles, and I don't put much credit to them that they're looking at the beard. And I mean, I don't see that happening. If I had to bet, I'd bet against it. But I mean, if you want my honest opinion, if the Pels are able to keep their starting 5 and somehow get Harden, or even trade away like someone like Lonzo, that's a champion. That's a championship contending team right away. I mean, that's challenging the big dogs. Like let's say we trade Bledsoe and all our picks and maybe a Kyra Lewis. I mean, starting 5 of Lonzo, Harden, BI, Zion, and Steven Adams. I mean, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be really hard to beat.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think that move will happen, but it's just something fun to play around with,
The reason I don't think that trade's going to happen, I mean, look at what we've traded away or what we got for Drew Holiday. What are the Rockets going to ask in return?
Yeah, and they kind of already said they're not worried about his trade demands. They're going to keep him.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Pels might not be a big player in this year's, we haven't been really big in this year's NBA free agency, but it was very, very shallow, but I think we'll be big players in next year. I really think we're going to be a big player next year. And guys like, I mean, everyone's available. I mean, obviously we're not going to go after a Giannis or a LeBron, but Kawhi is available. Paul George is available. Rudy Gobert, Victor Oladipo, a guy like Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, a guy like Blake Griffin, Mike Conley. All those players are going to be available, and then you never know who's going to be available with trades. So we'll see what happens.
Just kind of expanding things on that, though. I mean, now that we're kind of in the heart of free agency, I wanted to get y'all's opinion on what y'all thought of the Lakers and their kind of new lineup going forward. If y'all think they're going to repeat, or who y'all think's going to come out of the West?
Lakers are really good, man. Like, I don't like the Lakers. I'm not a fan of LeBron's. Everyone watching is either going to hate that I said that or love that I said that. But I mean, they just got better, man. Dennis Schroeder's a nice piece. And then you pick up this. Did Montrezl Harrell win 6th man, or if he didn't win it, he was in contention?
I believe he won it.
You win, you go out, and you get the 6th man of the year.
Now, dude, my thing is, I wonder who they're going to end up starting, because they start LeBron at the point guard, but I don't know who the 2 will be. I guess the 2 may be Wesley Matthews. I don't know.
LeBron plays the 1, but they would still roll out Rondo in the starting lineup.
See, I think they'll just surround him with some shooters. It'll be him, and I guess Kuzma may come off the bench. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play it all in, but I don't know if y'all saw today. They got Marc Gasol today, so that's pretty cool.
That's
their new starting center.
That's a big step up from what they had last year, and also they had Dwight as the backup. So bringing in Marc Gasol, that's a pretty big accomplishment for them.
Yeah, and I believe they brought back KCP, so he may end up starting again if he can shoot a little better than he shot last year. But I think the Western Conference Finals it's going to be Denver and them. I think Denver is going to be studs next year.
KCP. I
mean, they were this year, but
KCP hit the second most threes in any playoff, in the playoffs in NBA history. Only one player's hit more, or if it was at least for the Lakers. Kobe hit 49, KCP hit 45.
Wow.
And I did not expect that. But yeah, I thought Marc Gasol was done with the NBA. I thought he was going overseas. I guess that changed.
I believe he. Well, didn't he play overseas during the pandemic?
He
or
might
no,
have.
I don't. He was.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
you're right. He was definitely talking about that.
But I guess when you get a call from the Lakers,
His brother played there, so
yeah, his brother played. He won't be as good as his brother on the Lakers, but yeah, I think the Lakers repeat. Unfortunately, unless we see some guy come out and just really elevate his game to a new level on a team that's kind of close. Like maybe if we see a guy on a team like Denver really elevate his game, like if we see Michael Porter Jr. become what he can be, I think they give them a good shot.
I'd like to see Phoenix get one more piece and see if they can make a run at things. Because when you look at their starting five, if they could get one more piece, they could be something. Because they got Ayton at center, Booker at the 2, Chris Paul at the 1, and then I'm not sure who starts at power forward for them off the top of my head, but they got a solid group right now.
I'll tell you right now who is going to be an issue coming up soon, and that is the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are building something. Everyone is hating on that Gordon Hayward signing, but he averaged 18 and a half, like 5 and 4 as the 4th option on the team.
Bro, $30 million a year though?
I wouldn't have given him $30 million a year, but when you look at, they have LaMelo now. If he pans out,
it's not a good move in my opinion. Signing him.
I don't think it's a bad move signing him. I think it was too much money, but
I'm adding the contract into that.
But I would not be surprised if they make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, me either. Especially in the East.
Oh yeah. LaMelo, Devontae Graham just keeps getting better and better. You'll have Gordon Hayward, Mikal Bridges, PJ Washington, and
Miles Bridges. And then I don't know who plays center for Cody Zeller. And he's kind of a scrub, but that first 4 is nice. They're supposed to be trading Scary Terry, so maybe they could get somebody back for him.
Yeah. So kind of keep it on that. Obviously, I guess we're all thinking that do y'all think Gordon Hayward was the guy that got overpaid the most this season? This free?
Yeah,
definitely.
He'd probably be
all right, kind of going off that a little bit harder question. Who do you think got underpaid the most?
Somebody who's low key. I might not even know who he is, but DeAndre Bembry. He played for the Hawks last year. I watched him play a lot, so we get a lot of Hawks games here. But he's somebody I thought they got underpaid. He only got, I believe he's going to Toronto now, and he only got $2 million a year for 2 years. So That's pretty low. Yeah, that was one I saw. Trying to think, Cam, you had anybody stood out to you?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know. I think a lot of the big name guys got what they deserved. Besides Gordon Hayward, I think we already said this. I think he got a little overpaid, but not too many underpaid guys that I could really think of off the top of my head right now.
I have a list up.
Kind of curious. I'm curious to see what. If anybody hasn't seen DeMarcus Cousins got picked up by the Rockets, I'm curious to see if that's just a vet min or like the 2.5 or how much that's going to be. That's kind of an interesting little signing.
Yeah. We'll see. Damian Jones is heading to Phoenix, Taylor.
I saw Derek Jones Jr. got paid.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of sticking off the two opposite things. What do y'all think the smartest move that a team made this season was? This kind of off season, and what was the dumbest?
There was a lot of moves that I didn't think that was going to happen. No, well, not think that was going to happen, but a lot of moves that did happen, and a lot of. I don't know. This was a very weird free agency and draft, in my opinion. Like, I know how, going back to the draft a little bit, I know how they always like buck up the draft a little bit, saying that it's always going to be active. But that was one of the most boring first rounds I've ever watched, in my opinion. Every pick was so predictable.
Well, if you want an honest opinion, last year's draft was obviously very exciting for us, but you want to talk about predictable picks. I mean, top 5 were set in stone. I mean, there was, at least this year we had a little controversy around number 1 pick and who was going to be.
Right. No, that's true.
Last year, at least you say last year 1 through 3, you could have just.
Yeah, I mean, I knew everybody
before the draft happened.
Everybody knew we were already picking Zion at 1. I mean, that as soon as we got the number 1 pick, we were already on the clock, and we were already set in stone of who we were getting.
Yeah, but no, getting back to kind of smart and dumb moves. I mean, I really like the Lakers kind of plucking Montrezl Harrell out of their neighbors
for a cheap price too. It wasn't that much.
No, I mean, I might have to give it to them. I mean, that was a really good move on their part.
I think Fred VanVleet going back to the Raptors is another good one.
That's
4 years at 85 mil.
Congrats to him, man. I mean,
congrats
he got his bag.
Poppy. Congratulations.
I think another cool one was Rondo to the Hawks. I think Rondo's going to be able to sit there and mentor Trae Young for the next 2 years. I think that's a good one. And then the other one would just be the obvious of Tatum and Donovan Mitchell getting locked up for the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. So
both of them
that's smart moves on both their parts.
When is Jamal Murray's contract up?
Jamal Murray will. That's a good question. I could look it up.
Because man, if you give me the options, Jamal Murray, Jason Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell, after watching Jamal in last year's playoffs, I don't know if I can't take him. I mean,
so he is. So he actually did sign a new deal. It looks like he's locked up until 2025.
That was a smart.
They gave him the max, so he got the max he could get. He got 31.6 a year.
Yeah,
average.
And
he gets 29, 31, 33, 36. So
there weren't that many dumb moves during free agency. Most teams kind of played it close to the vest. Nothing really surprising. But like I said, there weren't that many big names going on the board, going off to new teams. So it's kind of hard to make a real dumb decision. We kind of already touched on the Pelicans rumors. So I guess we can kind of say we kind of touched on it, but kind of dive deeper into it. Who do y'all see the Pelicans rolling out game 1 starters?
If we keep Bledsoe, and y'all are gonna hate me for this. We already had this. We already had this conversation, and I want to put it in the video format. I know Lonzo is not a 2. He is the definition of a point guard.
Correct.
But a shooting guard shoots. You know this. They don't run the floor. Bledsoe cannot shoot the ball.
You could just stop. You could just stop. You said it all right there.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, listen to what you just said though.
What that Zion is the definition of a point guard? I mean, Lonzo?
You said Lonzo is the definition of a point guard, but let's not.
End of conversation. End of conversation.
Lonzo.
He doesn't play the shooting guard. He just doesn't play it.
Will be the worst player on the Pelicans if he does not run the offense with the ball in his hands.
Okay, so you put Bledsoe at the 2?
Correct. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think we keep Bledsoe. I don't think we
do either. But there's rumors and a lot
to the bench.
There's sources confirmed that he is going to be staying with us. You can't put a $16 million player on the bench. I just don't see it. That's a waste of money.
You 1,000% can. Why would you let a player hurt you twice? If he's not playing well, why would you let him hurt you twice?
If he's not playing well. Now, what if he is playing well? And what
I expect JJ or Josh Hart to start at the 2, especially with JJ having all the ties that Stan Van Gundy. I definitely expect that to be a possible move. And Lonzo at the 1, and then Bledsoe off the bench. 100%.
I agree. I think we see Kyra Lewis come off the bench at the 2 a little bit. I think we see
he's only 6'3" though, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's the same position. I mean Drew started for us at point, and he's 6'3". So
yeah, he's the thing is, I don't see Kyra. I don't see Kyra as a shooting guard. I don't. He likes to drive into the lane a lot, and he has good passing IQ.
I mean, Cameron, you see everyone as you don't see anybody as a shooting guard except for Lonzo. Apparently, he is.
Oh my God,
Kobe Bryant.
I'm not saying that Lonzo should be playing the 2, but if we're keeping Bledsoe, why not? He has a 40% catch and shoot 3.
Yes, but Cameron, how often is he shooting those threes? I don't think. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Lonzo's probably shooting what, 5 threes a game, maybe.
Well, my thing is this: how many times do you see Lonzo Ball? They pass him the ball and then he attacks the basket. He's more better at setting people up. It's just what he does. If we play him out of position, y'all think he doesn't look great now? He's going to look terrible then.
I don't know. We said this before. A lot of things are up in the air with the Pelicans. They're not really saying a lot. So obviously it's all predictions now, but that's just what I see.
Cam, let me put it to you this way. The Saints have a guy who plays cornerback for them who barely plays. Do you know who that is? And he has a $7 or $8 million cap hit.
PJ Williams.
No. P-Rob. And he's been playing a lot lately with the injured Lattimore. But normally speaking, he rides the bench for $8 million a year. It's the same scenario. Like Parker said, you don't let a guy hurt you twice.
Yeah, I've never understood the logic behind if you pay a guy and he doesn't work out, you just have to ride with your mistake. Like, that makes no sense. Like, just the only reason we traded for Bledsoe and Hill was to make the money work. And, now it's Bledsoe and Adams is to make money work. Now,
I think what Griff's idea is, I think Cam could be right in the sense that Bledsoe will play early on. I think Griff's going to try and build his stock up, and then he'll ship him out.
He'll get him out.
That's what I hope we do.
The furthest I see him shooting up for us is I don't see him. Obviously, that's the trade deadline, but I don't see him playing past All-Star break.
Maybe.
But hey, maybe he balls out. Maybe he wants to be here.
Maybe so. You never know. Yeah, let's hope Cam's right.
Maybe Lonzo becomes the best shooting guard in the league.
Oh my God, y'all are twisting my words. I'm not saying Lonzo should be a shooting guard. I'm saying with the addition of Bledsoe, you can't put Bledsoe at the shooting guard position.
You're literally saying Bledsoe has to come off the bench. He can't come off the bench because he's $60 million a year.
I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. He's our second highest paid player on the team.
Hey, Cameron, let me ask you a question. If Omer Ashik was making $12 million a year, would you have started him?
He did start.
That's because the backup was a guy who was bagging groceries on the street in France a couple weeks before that.
Cameron, the team right now, Omer Ashik's making, let's say, $8 million a year. Do you play him?
No.
We'll give you the exact same contract. He's making what Bledsoe makes. Do you even let him see the court?
I don't even let him in the team arena.
Like, that is the worst basketball player that's ever been on the.
That's different.
I mean, it's not.
Ashik and Bledsoe are not even close to being the same player. And I'm not talking position-wise. I'm talking.
But the logic is the same. The logic of the fact that you can't play, you have to start a guy because of how much money he makes. Okay, so let me backtrack. I'm saying you don't, because Bledsoe has talent. He has the potential to be a good. Well, he already was a good guard. He was a great guard in Phoenix. Cameron, I'll go ahead and I'm going to say a name, and it's going to kind of like unravel your whole argument of having a guy has to start to improve his stock and everything or get paid a lot. And his name is Lou Williams. Sweet Lou. They have a 6 Man of the Year award. I mean, you can be very productive off the bench. Like, I have no problem if Bledsoe comes off the bench and plays serious minutes. And if he balls out, I mean, his stock's still going to go up. Those teams are going to look at it and be like, man, he's balling out coming off the bench. What is he going to do if he becomes a starter? I guarantee at least half of the NBA would sign Lou Williams to become a starter, but he likes his role off the bench. That's where the Clippers want him. So
he gets to enjoy his time at Magic City.
With Jack Harlow. What's popping?
Shout out Sweet Lou.
I played against you in 2K. But no, that's why. Kind of getting off basketball a little bit, talking more college football, the AP poll dropped. Any surprises there, y'all thought? I will have it pulled up in a second.
If you wouldn't mind just running through it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Alabama, obviously, is number 1.
Oop, you're lagging kind of bad there, buddy.
At number 2. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, we're good now. Sorry.
Taylor.
Yep,
Alabama is at number 1, obviously. Notre Dame is number 2. Then you have Ohio State 3, Clemson 4, Texas A&M at 5, and then Florida at 6, Cincinnati at 7, BYU at 8, Oregon at 9, and Miami at 10. And then you have Northwestern at 11.
Did you guys hear that BYU got a call from Washington University asking them if they wanted to schedule a game this week, and they said no. So everybody's like all up in arms because, I mean, at the end of the day, BYU's 9-0 now, but they've played nobody. Like, for example, they played North Alabama this week and they pummeled them. But they're going to try and be in the college football playoff conversation, but they haven't played anybody. So that was a big mistake by them on my part. I think they're taking that game, and that's a Power 5 team. So you got there and beat them. I mean, could shake some heads.
You see,
I mean, they're at 8 right now. So unless you get some serious shakeups, the only team I see kind of shaking stuff up is Cincinnati. I feel like A&M's not going to win out.
You're right, because they finna take an L this week, baby.
Who they played? LSU.
They played the Tigers.
They gonna be 6-1.
Who's that?
Probably right.
Who's that? A&M.
A&M plays LSU.
Bro, I was just looking at it as a 14-point spread. I was like, wow.
I'll take A&M to cover.
I'm not gonna lie.
You would take A&M to cover in that?
I mean, A&M's number 5. Auburn is 22, and Auburn beat LSU by what? 38 points.
Yeah, but we all know it's about matchups, not about previous games.
I agree, but I mean, you look. Texas A&M's beat some serious competition. I'm pretty sure.
I'll take the points. I don't think we beat them, but I'll take the points.
Texas A&M so far has played
Alabama and lost.
They beat Arkansas. They beat State. They beat Florida. They lost to Alabama, and they beat Vanderbilt. But I mean,
Vanderbilt, we beat them.
Florida. That's a.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know. They beat South Carolina 48-3.
I just hope it's a competitive game. In all honesty.
Yeah. Ohio State. We got to. So how many games?
Is the Iron Bowl this week?
Iron Bowl is this week. Yes.
Or is it next week?
Iron Bowl is this week because I'll be in. Hopefully, I'll be in Florida and watching it with my dad.
Oh wait, are you sure? I don't see it on here. Oh yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Saturday at 2:30.
And
wow, do you know this? Do you know the spread on that game? You will not guess the spread. Take a guess.
20 points.
24.
I'll take that.
I'll take the points.
I'll take the points on that, man.
I think they beat you by 2 touchdowns. I'll take the points.
If Tank is healthy.
I'll take the points either way.
Yeah. Speaking of Auburn, some big news coming out of there is they had a self-imposed ban for postseason basketball this year.
What? I didn't hear this.
Yeah, and there's an investigation into Sharif Cooper's eligibility, and he hasn't practiced.
What?
Has not practiced in weeks, and he's looking to go overseas if he's ruled ineligible.
You're making this up.
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not.
You're making this up. That is not true.
Look it up.
What? Because of what? Saying they paid him?
No, because of some
dirty Bruce Pearl at it again.
They are doing it because there's a self-imposed postseason ban, which is so stupid. Investigation of bribery.
Y'all can't play in the tournament.
Correct.
Okay, bribery means paying, Parker.
Yes. So same stuff that LSU ran into a little bit ago, but then I don't get the self-imposed ban thing.
Innocent until proven guilty.
I've never.
Will Wade, the American gangster, you cannot lock him up.
I just don't understand why you would do a self-imposed ban. Why not just take the punishment the NCAA?
Well, because it's the same thing LSU football did because they know something happened, so they're like, let's go ahead and we'll penalize ourselves. Don't worry about touching us.
Yeah. So if Sharif Cooper is ruled ineligible, he hasn't practiced in weeks apparently.
Wow, that's really bad for Auburn basketball.
Sure is.
Well, hopefully Sharif finds his way. I have a feeling if he's talking about going overseas, it's probably going to happen.
Or he'll go G League or something like that. But let's not talk about that.
Wait, time out. You do realize the season starts in 2 days, right?
Yeah. So they better make a decision quick. Let's not talk about it before I cry. Little bit off topic, and something we haven't talked about yet. This isn't on our spreadsheet, but I just got the notification. Little baseball news that the Braves are in serious talks with Charlie Morton.
I like that.
That's not a bad one.
I do too. I think the Braves, if they are able to keep their team together, I think the Braves should be the favorite to win it all next year.
Well, I mean, obviously the favorite's going to go to the Dodgers, but
I agree. But I mean,
did y'all see that the Rays are open to trading Snell?
I will take him.
You guys also seen, I know this is off topic, but the Toronto Raptors are going to be playing their games in the Tampa Bay Lightning Stadium.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yep.
Yeah, because they couldn't get it passed in Toronto because of the COVID.
Great stadium. Great stadium. Hey, maybe we'll do the Pelicans play the Raptors this year?
Probably.
I'm sure they do. I don't know.
Well, if it's in the Tampa arena, maybe we go take a trip, go see my folks down in Florida, go see an away Pels game in a hockey stadium.
And go see Pascal Siakam.
And Fred VanVleet.
I'll let y'all know if we play him.
So
they haven't released the schedule yet, I don't think.
No, they haven't released the schedule yet. Last thing on our written agenda is the Conor versus Dustin fight that just got announced.
My favorite topic of the day. For those that don't know, I'm a big UFC fan. Parker and Cameron not much into the UFC. They watch, the big time fights, but I'm the one who follows it the most probably.
So
I'd like to hear y'all's opinion first, and then I'll rebuttal.
I mean, I'll take Conor. I mean, I don't know enough about. I'll be honest. I kind of put this on there because I know you'll be able to talk about it, but I don't know enough about Dustin Poirier.
Correct.
I know he's a good fighter. I know he's a really good fighter. But I mean, I think Conor's going to come in with some confidence, like he always does. I mean, and I feel like Conor's not taking this fight. If there's any doubt in his mind, he has a chance to lose it.
So for those of you that don't know that are listening, they fought 6 years ago, 2014. They fought for the first time. Now it was at 145 pounds, which is a featherweight division, which is the first championship that Conor ever won. But he knocked him out in the first round. I think a lot of that had to do with Dustin Poirier having to, know how they cut weight. So I think he cut weight a lot to get down to that weight, so he couldn't take as much punishment. I don't think it'll be the same result in the upcoming fight because it's at 155 pounds. I think it'll probably, I think it's still a knockout. I think second or third round. I don't think it's first round knockout, but Dustin Poirier has I'm going to take Conor in it, but it's going to be a lot closer, and it's definitely not a walk in the park. This is probably the toughest guy in the division now that Khabib has left and retired. So Dana White can come out and say that this isn't for the lightweight belt, but this is for the lightweight championship of the world. So Conor McGregor goes out there and wins. Word is that he's going to take a step back from UFC for a second, and he's going to go fight Manny Pacquiao in boxing, which would be pretty interesting because their agent is actually the same person. He represents both of them.
That's funny.
So here's what I think the game plan is. I think he goes out there and fights Dustin. I think he beats him. I think he turns around quick, and maybe March or April he fights Pacquiao. And then I think either he fights in the UFC another time, or he tries and gets Floyd Mayweather out of bed and run it back with him. But
Floyd
who knows?
Mayweather out of bed.
Yeah, that's what he said, man. Yeah, I think he'll beat Dustin. I think it's gonna be a really, really good fight. I think it'd be a good one.
Do you with you being such a big January 23rd, correct?
Yeah, 23rd in Abu Dhabi, and they're actually going to, Dana White announced they'll have fans, and they'll also be having a bunch of in-person events. There'll be fans there, and they're going to have concerts, and they're going to have pool parties and all kinds of shit. So he said, to hell with all the coronavirus stuff. He's going to be testing people, and apparently the technology they have over there in Abu Dhabi, apparently they already have a vaccine. They're already distributing it over there. So wow. I don't know. He's saying they're already going to be moving forward with fans. What was your question, Cam?
So you being a big UFC fan, do you like the idea or agree with the idea of UFC fighters going into boxing? Preferably Conor McGregor. I mean, he's the only one on it.
Whatever makes them the most money. I mean, I don't care. To be honest, unless you're a big time guy to go in there and do what these guys do, you're not getting paid enough. Like Dana White can say all he wants about money and things like that, but I mean, let's use Dustin Poirier for example. Conor will. If he wasn't fighting Conor McGregor, which obviously he's going to get a lot more money, a lot more attention, he's fighting Conor. If he was not fighting him, he'd probably be getting a little under 500,000, wow, maybe a little more, somewhere in that range, to go out there and potentially die. I mean,
potentially die.
You could die. So yeah, at the end of the day, and he's a high end fighter. When you look at a guy who's coming off who's one of the prelim fighters who, goes out there when people are still getting their popcorn and stuff. Some of those guys are making less than 20 grand. I mean,
Right.
They go out there and lose. And then you got to pay coaches. You got to add in, any kind of other, I know the UFC pays for most of the stuff, but a couple other expenses in there, things like that. So, I mean, you're looking at, and then you got taxes. So, I mean, what are you walking away with? 10 grand to go out there and slug with somebody for 15 minutes?
Get your head knocked in. Yeah, no, it's definitely a problem. I've been hearing a lot with the UFC. I know a lot of players, a lot of fighters have gone on strike.
Yeah, John Jones is a big one who wants to be paid. A couple other ones out there who are just demanding to be paid. A lot of them, it's forced a lot of guys into retirement, like a Henry Cejudo, who is, you guys probably don't know him too well, but he's the champion of the lowest men's weight class. And so he's a little bitty guy. He's like 5'4". He fights at 125 pounds and 135 pounds. So he doesn't increase a lot of fan view. So the UFC wasn't paying him according. I think they were only paying him like a little over 100 grand to go out there and fight as a championship fighter. So he retired. He said, screw this.
And it's sad because UFC is getting so big. I mean, they have their contract with ESPN. So you think with that ESPN money that they're getting, they'd be able to pay these guys a little bit more. And especially since they're getting a lot more viewership with ESPN. I mean, UFC has taken off a lot, like big time over the past few years. So it's sad that these guys aren't getting paid what they should be.
Yeah, the fight to watch though for next year. Obviously, things are kind of slowing down as far as UFC goes for 2020, but 2021, the fight to watch is going to be John Jones versus Francis Ngannou at heavyweight. That is going to be quite a fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I love John Jones.
Yeah, he's just an asshole off the court.
He is an asshole just because
of the octagon, but
he is an asshole because of what he did with DC.
But just he's had so many incidents of just bad stuff, so many pop drug tests, all kinds of stuff. He's overall not a great person, but he's definitely the GOAT in terms of mixed martial arts.
That's what I meant. Like I don't like him personally as a person. I meant just as a fighter. He's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, best ever.
Oh yeah. If we want to kind of tie it back in, kind of be the last thing we'll talk about. I just saw that Pro Bowl voting just became live for the NFL. Do you all have any votes for the Pro Bowl that you think not a lot of guys are getting enough credit for, that maybe they should go ahead and get the nod?
Trey Hendrickson.
Mr. Trey Hendrickson.
Yes.
Is he even
doubting me? You can't see because of my green screen, but Trey Hendrickson is my phone background. I assume he's going to get consideration. I mean, he's going to get consideration for not just Pro Bowl, but I mean, he's going to get consideration for All Pro. I mean, he's leading the league. He's tied for the lead league in sacks as a not an every down guy.
I know, it's crazy.
I think Taylor touched up on this last episode, but if they had the most improved player award, he would easily get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he definitely. And another thing I wanted to touch on from last episode that I was actually mistaken about that I heard on the radio. So Marcus Davenport, he'll be going into his fourth or fifth year next year. Anyways, he has a 5th year option that we can pick up, so we don't have to pay him yet. But we do have to pay Trey Henderson. And the thing that they were talking about on the radio, Bobby Hebert in particular, he was talking about how if we don't pay him, somebody else is going to pay him.
Man, why do you have to ball out on a contract year?
Trying to make that money, man.
Yeah, he's trying to make that money. But that's the thing I hate about contract years, because they ball out and then we pay them and then they don't stay as consistent as that contract year. So if we do pay him, I hope he keeps the same energy that he has this season, because I mean, we definitely love having him on the defensive line. I mean, you don't want a guy like him to go away for more money or a better contract, I'll say.
Yeah, they don't always take a step back of the contract. You look at a guy like Mr. AK-41 and a guy that really balled out. Obviously, he'll be a Pro Bowler. Another guy that I think should get a nod is Terry McLaurin out of Washington. You know, I kind of talked about that. I wanted to talk about him. I mean, you look at all the top receivers in the NFL. When everyone says the top receivers, they say D-Hop, they say Mike, they say Julio, they say DK, and they say Devontae Adams. Am I missing a name?
No.
I mean,
Odell
that sums
wasn't
it
healthy,
up.
but that's it.
What'd you say?
I said Odell wasn't healthy, but that's it.
Yeah, but you look at all those guys, and all those guys have top 10 quarterbacks. You know, Matt Ryan isn't playing great this year, but I mean, the guy's got an MVP. You look at Devontae, he's got Aaron.
Matt Ryan's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean,
yeah, Mike's got Drew. List goes on and on. And then you look at a kid like Terry McLaurin with Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins as a quarterback, and I mean,
he's killing it.
Is balling. I mean, you get him on a different squad. You put him on the Packers or the Seahawks or something like that. You put him on the Chiefs with a guy like Patty Mahomes, someone who can actually push the ball downfield, give you the ball in space, fit it in those tight pockets. I mean, he might be challenging for number 1 or 2. I mean, he is just he is young too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's only his second or third year in the league.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he stays or if Washington can get a quarterback to get him the rock better. But
before we go, I just want to shout out one person because I've hated on him a lot in my years as a sports fan, and that is Patrick Robinson. Patrick Robinson in these last 2 weeks has played the best football I've ever seen out of him. Because that man was actually holding Julio Jones. I mean, we got to all admit, Julio Jones, when healthy, is a top 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Correct.
And he held him to a pretty decent game. I know Janoris came over there and played. Janoris played the game of his career yesterday, by the way. But shout out to P-Rob, though. That's all I wanted to say.
Shout out P-Rob.
Shout out P-Rob.
All right. Catch us next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We'll be posting stuff there. Updates, our thoughts on stuff. A lot of interactive posts that you can interact with. And catch y'all next week.
Later.
Peace.